Hello, guys. How are you doing today on this lovely Monday? It's should I say lovely because the temp keeps changing. Like it really doesn't make it.
Yes, here too. Yeah.
But I am your host for MS Monday, LaRon, and if you're watching us on YouTube, definitely please hit that subscribe button for us and hit the like button as well, due to the fact that that helps the algorithm and help other warriors like ourselves see us throughout YouTube. But if you're on Facebook, definitely follow us and share all this lovely information that we give out on every other Monday when my body loves to allow me to. But next to me, we have a lovely guest, and her name is Michelle. And if you don't mind introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, just a brief moment or two before I get into asking you these off the wall MS questions.
Okay. Well, I was diagnosed in 2009 on my birthday.
Oh,
Happy birthday
wow.
to me. And it was rocky. I also happened to have gotten pregnant right after my diagnosis. So that kind of, yeah. Um, and due to problems with the pregnancy not related to MS, at 6 months pregnant, I was put on bed rest. And we both know that if you're stuck in bed for 3 months with MS, that's not good.
No.
So it was really, 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 really rough. I could barely drive. I could barely climb my steps in my house. Today, fast forward, I'm not going to say everything's peachy and rosy because it's definitely not. But I do still drive, and most days I'm going up the steps. So every morning I wake up and I just say thank you for my legs that work, and thank you that I'm out of bed. And can I just, like, real quick, I just want to give three very quick, solid pieces of information to anyone who is new
Yeah.
to MS, or is in the middle of being diagnosed, or if you've had it a couple of years and you're still at that stage where you and I both know you feel very lost and alone.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things I did was I turned to social media to search out other people that had the same thing as me. And I ended up finding people who were local, um, and they became my friends. You know, my one best friend that I have, my best friend in the whole wide world, she also has MS. She
Cool.
also has lupus. Um, and we're great together because we're the same speed. Slow.
I wasn't expecting that one.
But no, here's the quick three pieces of advice. Number one, make sure that your neurologist specializes in MS because not
Okay.
all of them do. The
No.
ones that don't tend to put you in different directions with your disease that you don't need to go. Number two, therapy, mental
Mm,
health therapy.
mm.
I never thought that I would do it. Once I did it, I was grateful. It did spark a healing process within me.
Okay.
Um, I think that's a vital part to this disease. It's not only with our bodies, it's with our brain too, because it messes with us. It's messing with our brain, it's messing with our everyday.
Yep.
So you have to keep your mental game together. Pull from resources if you can. Um, and then finally, never give up and learn to live in the moment again. So,
That
um,
definitely the counseling counseling part, I think that was like one of the main driving points for me to continuously doing what I'm doing is because I definitely understand how we all would love for a random doctor to just come out the left field and say, hey, I got a cure and everything's
Yeah.
fine. But, and I've said this before on the show when I asked my neurologist, I'm like, hey, just a random question. Um, I don't know like a lot about the nervous system, but I do know enough due to my MS that I'm not
Affect
going to say,
everything.
yeah, I'm not going to even say that because I believe in miracles. So I'm not going to throw that out of the door. But if you're thinking about nerve damage, there are so many people, once they sit and say, hey, you know, you have nerve damage in this particular area, the doctor is really not looking for you to bounce back. And when you do, you know, again, I'm a true believer of miracles and whatnot, and it's just I want us to understand that saying that you're being diagnosed with MS doesn't mean that you're out of the fight, doesn't mean that you're dead and you're gone, but
Yeah.
you it opens the door for you to start thinking, okay, now what do I need to do? How do I need to better take care of myself? Because I have this
Oh
particular
yeah.
disease. Because that question was, what happens if y'all do come out with a cure? Everybody that's hoping that a cure is going to put us back to where we were before we got diagnosed, which some of us, we're not even in great places then.
Yeah.
And I mean mentally. So for someone to say we have a cure and it cures our MS, but we're still the same person that we are at that very moment, like with a drop foot in a wheelchair, with a cane, still sluggish, pains and whatnot, you're still mentally are going to be pissed.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be great, as well as you still having MS and being pissed because you're not the same person. And I'm
Yes.
not saying that it's easier said than done, especially for those that are being newly diagnosed. It can be a whirlwind.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
It's almost like a death within you because that old you is now gone, and now you have to find the new
yes,
you and how you're going to proceed with life in new ways. And it can be scary, and it is scary, and it's very scary for people who are worse off day to
yeah,
day than us.
yeah.
But yeah,
So it's funny that you spoke about, was it your first pregnancy when you got diagnosed, or
no, I actually this is kind of funny. I was sitting at work. I was kind of bored, and I'm like listening to music, and I'm banging on my leg with my hand, and like, playing with my pen on my leg, and I noticed I couldn't feel my leg. I'm
okay?
like, what's going on here? That's weird. And then all of a sudden I was just like, whoa, I am so tired. I was living off of coffee and sugar. Okay.
Wow. Great.
Just because of the fatigue, and I didn't know what was going on. And I had taken my middle son, he was 14 or 15 at the time. I had taken him to his pediatrician, who we knew since he was a baby, now 15 at that time. And he said, how are you feeling? And I said, you know what? I'm really tired, and I got this numbness in my leg. I think I got a pinched nerve. And he said, put your hands out and cross them over and squeeze my hands. And I did. And he said, see a neurologist. And I did. They
Wait,
gave me
wait.
all,
Your son said that?
no, no, my son's pediatrician.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, your son is smart. Not
Yeah,
saying
no,
it's not smart, but
yeah. Yeah, no, the doctor was basically like, he was done with checking out my son, and he asked me how I was, and I told him. So he's the one that said, you better see a neurologist, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you found out you was pregnant?
I found out I was pregnant a couple of months after I was diagnosed with MS. Yeah.
Now, how did that go?
No, no, here's yeah, well, here's the thing. They say that um when a woman gets who has MS gets pregnant, during her pregnancy, the symptoms and the exasperations of MS will settle down.
okay.
However, the crux to that, there's always a take back. After you give birth, you go into a very big flare.
Mm. Mm.
So I'm looking back in time, and I'm thinking back 20, at this time it was like 21 years since my first son had been born. And I
Uh-huh.
remember having what I know now as multiple sclerosis symptoms after giving birth to my now 28-year-old son. Yeah.
Wow.
Also, Lauren, I wanted to tell you that my very first neurologist, after looking at the brain scans, after the blood tests, after the spinal tap, he said, it looks like from where you are at right now, it seems that you have had MS since probably you were a teenager. So I was
Yep.
a little taken back by that. And then it started to make sense, like, oh, I've felt this way and that way and this way, and I never knew what it was. It can be very puzzling sometimes. That's why it's so important for us to reach out to others, especially at the beginning, because you don't know where the pain's coming from. What's
Yes.
happening? What's that? You know what I mean? You're numb, but you're in pain, and you're crying, but you're happy, and then you're yelling, and then what's going on with me? Yeah, yeah,
I got the same thing, and once I started telling my neurologist about my past and how I just felt like I was like uh, a vampire. I used to put plastic bags up against my windows because I couldn't stand the heat. I had just
yeah,
got um, I I had just got promoted. I was starting in construction and had got promoted. I had to get me a utility belt and stuff. I started getting tools. I was excited because I always wanted to do like cabinetry work and stuff like that.
yeah.
And girlfriend at the time, I'm like, when she came and picked me up from work, I'm like, I don't know, I just don't feel right. And I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. And she just looked at it as in, oh, you just don't want to work. It's hard work.
Mhm.
Realize that this is hard work.
Yeah,
No, something I've always liked going outside. I used to play basketball outside, play with my friends outside, and it's just now this just don't feel right. And for years I didn't know what was going on, but I used to get paralyzed when I was playing basketball in high school.
oh
Yeah,
wow,
and they used to have to cart me out on a stretcher, and they would just give me muscle relaxers. And it's
oh wow.
you having bad spasms in your spine. Well, first of all, let me say the hospital here sucks, and it's it's a monopoly thing. They block other hospitals from coming in, and
Yeah,
so they their service is just it's crazy. My sister though, before I say what Miss Jalissa just said, my sister had my nephew. She got diagnosed at the same time she found out that she was pregnant, and so the same thing happened to her after she had my nephew. She went down quick. It's almost like she had several strokes. This side of her face was leaning down. They had to teach her how
yeah,
to walk again and eat. So that's scary because
yeah,
I would think that someone that's being diagnosed that had planned on wanting to have kids. And this is not to scare anyone and not to stop anyone from trying to have kids. It's just still throwing that option out there to, you know, be cautious and just again, like she stated, make sure your neurologist is an MS specialist.
Yeah.
My neurologist wasn't at the time. She is now, but when she diagnosed me, she wasn't. But she was still she still is a good neurologist, and I appreciate everything that she did for me at the very beginning. But
Good. Good.
so, how's your dynamic now with your kids?
Um, well, what I found is schedules are very helpful. But if I can't get, see, I should tell you, I used to be a very type A personality.
Okay.
Get things done before you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Always get caught up on stuff. House cleaning done, laundry done, everything done at work. Make sure everything's good. Make sure your tank is ready for the week. Type A personality. It's kind of hard to do that when you have MS because it's very exhausting. We're now
Yes.
in the spoon theory of life. So, the one of the many hard things that really had me was I really am not physically able to do like I did before. I still can do a lot of things and I'm very lucky, but um there's a lot of days where I can't do a thing. It's got to be down days.
Yeah.
They have to be scheduled and things have to be on the fly. And um my son, he kind of struggles with it. He doesn't like to see me down and tired and you know but he knows he's always first in my life. So
Okay.
he's helpful, he's very caring. um my spirits, I have to say that right now in my life, my spirits are the best that they've been since I was diagnosed.
Okay.
And that was a long time coming. I mean, it took a
Okay.
lot of work to get here. It's not easy. Um, but I'd like to say you can do it. It can be done. It can be
Yeah.
done.
It's Jalissa says that her symptoms were opposite, and I'm assuming she was referring to the pregnancy thing. Um, Miss
Yeah.
Becky, I was diagnosed 9 months after having my last kid 13 years ago. So a lot of you guys being diagnosed
Yeah.
after or during pregnancy. Jalissa also said many years I didn't have a specialist. I do now. You'd be very
Yeah.
surprised. And you know what? Even if you have a specialist, this is something that I mentioned last time on the show. Is still, if you have to go get a second opinion,
Yes.
please do not be scared to go get a second opinion. Because there are a lot of MS warriors that are with doctors now that they're scared to speak up and say, I don't think I want to do this, or too scared to say, hey, I don't really like how this relationship is, and I'm going to see about going to find someone else. And
Yes.
I know that a lot of folks look at it, well, I don't want to start over. I would prefer to start all the way over and tell a doctor everything from the very beginning and have a good reputation with that doctor versus a doctor sitting and just saying, okay, hey, I know you've been on this medication for X amount of years and you've been doing okay, but unfortunately, that medicine I'm not approved for, so I'm really not getting paid for it. They're not going to tell you that, but in so many cases, that's what happens. Because
Yeah. Yep.
me moving from here to Mississippi, I had to call Biogen, which I was on Sabri at the time. Excuse me, for them to find out a doctor in the area that gave out to Sabri.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people understand the complexity of every doctor doesn't give out the same treatment.
True. Very true. Very true. I actually went through 4 neurologists before I stuck with my final and current one. His bedside manner, as you say, is wonderful. You can speak to him about anything. He makes
Cool.
you feel relaxed and he gives you options.
Hmm.
That's what they need to do. They can't just say, you have to take this. You have
Yeah.
to have a doctor that gives you options and listens to you. It's the most vital part of your care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I'm coming and telling you that, hey, uh, my arm is about to fall off and you too busy worrying about a zit on my forehead, you're not helping me whatsoever. And
Yeah.
I, uh, and me heading back towards a more holistic approach
Yeah.
is even scarier due to a doctor can't tell you, okay, so the options that you're doing and the things that you're thinking about doing, those are great. Because regardless if they want to, they still have to think about their little oath and their job and whatnot. And I think that's sad too, that a doctor can't really point you in a direction if you sit and you say, well, doc, I don't really want to be on this medication, and I want to do something different. You have a lot of neurologists, heck, doctors, period, that'll just tell you, okay, well, I can't see you as a patient then. I'm
Yeah.
you're a part of that. And
Yeah.
actually, I just got finished talking to my wife about wanting to take a year off. And, like she stated, I do know that by taking that year off of medication, there is a chance of, relapsing or something happen and, something may go wrong or whatnot. But I don't know. I think my next appointment is going to I'm going to ask my neurologist at the end of the day, because this is a chemo treatment that I'm taking,
Yes.
what is this destroying in my body?
Right.
That is going
Right.
to be my next question. I've never asked this question to any doctor. I'm going to ask this question and I'm going to see if he's going to fumble the ball or he's just going to be straight up and tell me. Because my thing is, I want to know if I seriously decide to just finish taking this until I'm dead and gone. Is this
Wait,
going to be the reason that's going to cause me to die faster, or
right,
I should take,
exactly. What are the long-term effects?
yeah,
And they give you those papers to read, and I swear it takes you about 17 days to read it. But here's what my current neurologist told me before. He said, when it comes to MS and your chances of relapsing, flaring up, it's all a numbers game, and it's all a number game. It's all a number game with the treatments, with the DMs, with the DMDs. It's all a numbers game. It's a percentage. It's going to just help you a percentage. Um, and that's definitely something to weigh out. Now, in my case, and as far as the infusions go, um, I had gotten a secondary insurance myself, and they said, well, if you continue with your infusions, you're going to have to pay $400 out of your pocket up front. And I said, how am I supposed to do that living on Social Security disability?
who do you have?
And they
What
said,
I mean,
well,
what
that,
treatment do you take?
I'm sorry.
What treatment are you on?
Well, that was called IVIG. It was called intravenous gamma globulin. And I actually can send you some information on it. Maybe next time, like we can talk more about it.
Yeah.
Um, but just the fact that they wanted to charge me, I had to go off. So I was looking at other options. And here with my secondary insurance, now instead of just getting billed with Medicare, they would
Hmm.
just send me a bill. Now I have to pay everything up front.
Okay.
So I'm kind of in a pickle. But I got to tell you, I haven't been on infusions in about a year and a half.
Okay.
I have had some flares,
Okay.
but I haven't had any horribly bad flares like I have in the past that landed me in the hospital.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So
So is it something that you have to take once or?
no, no. Well, they can. It depends. When I was taking it, I they started me once a month,
Okay.
and then they moved it up to every 2 weeks, and then we moved it up to every 10 days, and that's where I was every 10 days for the longest time.
Okay.
Now I've of course I have gone downhill in some ways,
Okay.
but there are some ways that my stamina is unbelievable for where I'm at.
Okay.
Um, and I'm not doing that bad, but I am getting a little worried that it's been too long. So I'm actually probably going to look into getting back on the infusions,
Okay.
but I I really didn't experience, a big backlash from going off of them, to be
Okay.
honest, in my case. Yeah.
And let me see. Jalissa says they want to change your current medication to the one they prefer. Yeah. They want all their patients on the same drug. I definitely believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will tell you the benefit outweighs the risk. Yes, that's exactly what they was telling me and my wife the last time. I was like, bruh, because I
Yeah.
had talking to him and I could have sworn he said that. Okay, so we're gonna do it for 3 years and we're gonna take, you know, we're gonna stop for a brief moment. I didn't know he was meaning that he was going to take me off of the medication to put me on something else. And I'm like, if if I can't do this, I don't want to do nothing else. And so you
Right.
either gonna stay on this, cause I don't want to continuously change. Cause I was on to Sabri, which I felt like was helping me, but my JC virus thingy count, whatever, was going up.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
my neurologist at the time, which I love to death, which I'm definitely thinking about. She had left the center that I'm a part of and started her own practice, and now she's taking insurance. So I'm definitely thinking about going back to her. But she was just upfront. It's like, hey, uh, you've already been off to Sabri for a whole year, and I can start you back up on it if JC count is extremely high. I'm worried about that. I have this other medication that we can try you on, but you know me, it's whatever you want. Just know if we start back with Sabri, I'm definitely going to monitor you heavily.
Right.
Or you can get on this other medication. And so she made it easier for me to say, okay, last thing I need to do is be worried about PML if I'm going to get it, if I'm not going to get it. Because there for a minute, I was scaring myself to death thinking that I was because
Well,
me
well,
being in my previous marriage, it felt like I was losing
well,
my mind.
well,
And so, but I
That that's another thing, Lauren, that can stress
yes,
from external factors, whether it's a bad relationship or some tension in your family, or just getting flack from, you know, people.
yes.
Um, yeah, yeah,
I it's it's weird though that um when I got diagnosed, we were actually we were at a moment of thinking about divorcing, and when a doctor called, they let me know that they found spots on my brain. She broke down and started crying and whatnot. It's like, oh, it's my fault. It's my fault. I've never once told anyone that it was her fault because I know for a fact that I don't know how many people are going to own up to this because there's different things happen to different people.
Right.
I'm just meaning the folks that really know that, like myself, I stressed myself out throughout my years of living, and I've always tried to be something that somebody wanted me to be because they thought that that was the best thing, and I constantly failed at it. And by me failing at it, it put me in so much of a depressed state. I used to be a cutter. I attempted suicide a couple of times. I life for me was just awful, and I thought maybe that if I found me a family and found somebody that I can love and whatnot, that would do it. But if you can't love yourself, you would never find someone that's going to love you better than you can yourself. Um,
True.
and I
True.
I think that's something that we drop the ball with because we're constantly trying to find someone to fill a void,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
when we
And that's,
don't, it
yeah.
makes it worse. And MS is not the right place to be in with a mindset like that.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Now, have you with your treatment? Have you um talked to the actual pharmaceutical company about any programs or no?
Not for the IVIG in particular, because it actually it was an off, I forget the terminology, off market, off
Oh,
brand, um, not necessarily branded for the treatment of MS,
okay,
but they found it beneficial, and it's used by neurologists who specialize in MS. Not too many of them know about it.
okay.
I'd love to get you more information on it and actually talk in depth with you about it.
No,
Um,
for real. I'll just yeah.
but
When you're ready,
yeah,
just let me know, and I can tell you what Monday I'm doing the show. Because again, you never know what Warrior would like to actually try and see about getting on something like that. It's
yeah,
a warrior that I haven't had on for a while. His name is Paul. He went and did stem cell, and I from the point I met Paul to now, I've never seen Paul look this good. I've been seeing him in the gym on his page and stuff, and
wow,
it's like,
wow,
and he did this off on a limb, and it wasn't something that he was forced in. It was just a great opportunity that he took advantage of. But it makes you wonder, and it also, for me personally, and this is not speaking for anybody else, but for me personally, it makes me hate the medical system
yeah,
because there are things that's possibly out there that we can try that we don't have to subject ourselves to all these chemicals per se.
yeah. Well, see, that's why I chose the IVIG, because it's a blood product, and
Mhm.
it's not like the regular DMDs. It's not chemicals and all that stuff. It's an actual blood product that is drawn from a special group of not blood. What's the serum? Blood serum
Okay. Okay.
donors.
Okay.
And they have to fit a certain panel for them to donate.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that's why I chose it, because I went through, I started with Copaxone, and then I went on to, four other, I can't, I forget them off the top of my head, but then my neurologist said, even with all these treatments, you're still getting lesions. I was averaging 2 new lesions a year, like
Wow.
for 8 years straight. Yeah. And once I started the IVIG, I either had no lesions or one lesion.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that was the success for that.
Okay.
And that's the only reason why that's the one infusion that I will go back to. I don't want to try any of the new ones. I just I know
And
that one
I
worked
mean,
for
and they're
me.
breaking them out now, like, and for them to be breaking them out left and right the way that they are,
Yeah, yeah,
you still don't hear anything of people still are like blind to what MS is. That's
yes,
the other thing. I'm
yes,
like, so how we have so many medications coming out for this illness, but still, when I'm at my pop ups and I'm like, hey, I'm raising money for MS and all this and explains, have you heard of them? And I have a lot of folks that are looking at me like,
yeah,
no.
no,
So, I go ahead and explain to them. Or I have those people that say, I know a friend, or I have a cousin, or I have a coworker, and they doing okay, but that's about all that they can really say. Is not something that they really just said, oh, hey,
yeah.
because I seen this person with it, I'm finna go look into it. Um, we have a couple of comments here. Miss Tommy says, my sister was born a bubble baby. Gamma, Miss Tommy, you know darn well you don't need to be throwing these big words up here.
Gamma
Yeah.
globulin anemia. Okay.
Okay. It's crazy how all these different autoimmune disorders are connected in some ways. Well, yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
you saying that you got lupus too, right?
My best friend, she also
Or
has
best
lupus.
friend. Yeah, lupus and MS, the best friend. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I thought they were cousins. I didn't know you can have them both at the same time.
yeah, yep.
Miss Tommy also stated getting ready to start new medication. Kesa Kesimpata. Kesimpata.
Oh, Kesimpta. Yeah, let us know how that works. That's a
She
new
said
one.
8,000 a month.
Oh,
Jeez. Jalissa says, my neurologist tried to switch me to another medication last month that causes heart attacks. I'm like, no thanks. I'll pass. I hear you, girl. Uh,
yeah, hard pass.
Miss Maria says, how are the pills for relapse readmitting MS? I was taking Capaxum, but want to switch. Capaxum for me sucked. I'll just go ahead and say it. I know a lot of people right now that's been on Paxil for like 20 some years. And
It was
you know
horrible
what?
for me too. Yeah, no,
I,
yeah,
hey, you're blessed. I'm happy that that worked for you. But it sent me to second stage like in 6 months. And that's when they put me on Sabri and I started reverting back. But yeah, and the sticking myself in every part of my body was like, bro, come on.
yeah.
I, I don't want to do it. But Jalissa does say she would love to hear more about the IVIG. So definitely when you so it's every other Monday that I'm doing the show now
Okay.
because I have a lot of stuff going on. Actually, me and wifey did an event this weekend, and the person over the event, it was a cool event. It was for seniors. They had like a runway modeling thing for seniors, and so it was actually pretty cool.
Neat.
But
Yeah.
she has something going on for couples in Atlanta, and she wants us to be on a panel. So I'm everywhere right
Yeah. Yeah.
right now.
Oh,
Um,
well, would you like me? I can put some information together and I can join you on your next Monday if you like.
yeah, yeah, I would
Okay.
definitely love that. That actually, if you so yeah, off this upcoming Monday. So if you want to make the Monday after next that show, I can make I can do a poster up for it and bring you back up. I definitely and guys, anybody that's watching, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, I'm wanting to get back to showcasing you guys more than anything because I really feel like we need to see more of the diversity of what MS is because you can't just sit up here and
Yeah.
say MS is someone that can't walk, MS is someone that has a cane. It's different.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are getting diagnosed that are scared that I tell everybody to research, but you have to be careful when you research and how you research because you can,
Yeah.
excuse my French, you can scare the shit out yourself
Yeah.
but finding some stuff. So my other question would be is, and you don't have to get in detail with this, as but I know you say you're single,
Mhm.
but have you tried dating at all?
Yes. And it didn't turn out horribly at
Okay.
all. I just found that me personally at this point in my life, I've worked very hard for peace within, from head to toe in my heart, that I'm very cautious
Yeah.
on, I don't want anybody coming along and, disrupting my apple cart.
I know exactly what you mean about that, and we should all be like that.
And I don't mean to sound a certain way. I don't mean to sound like a princess or anything, but I mean, we MFers, we need a little extra from our people. We
Yeah,
really do. You know, and I'm not one to, kind of put that under the rug. I mean, hey, I need somebody who's going to do for me, but at the same time, it's a lot of work. That
yeah.
reciprocating and you know putting the energy into just going back into the dating pool right now. I'm like, I'm good. I don't even want to swim right now. When I'm ready to swim, I'll swim.
Jalissa says, "Stealing your joy." That was
Right, right, right.
that was probably I can say that was one of the scariest things for me,
Hmm.
but it didn't stop me. Only, and again, this is just me talking for myself. I just knew that God had placed something, a job for me to do, and in order for me to do that
Yeah,
job, I had to have that right partner um, in order to get it done. And so I had to go through a little thing myself.
yeah,
And it's that one thing that I tell people that something that I had to learn was to say no and be okay with it. That was like
yeah,
the best thing because once you learn how to say no to somebody and be okay with it, it's not going to bother you. And what I mean about that is kind of like how you just say some stealing your joy. Um, Hypothetically, you find someone that you may find, well, I might want to go ahead and try. Nah, you know, you're not gonna work. So
yeah,
you need to go and being okay with that.
yeah, yep,
I think that we because we want someone to care,
yeah,
and so many of us have lost people due to not understanding what MS is. I've heard
yes,
so many horrible stories about people walking out, being mistreated,
yeah. It's all over.
and
It's horrible. Yep.
all the way down to kids.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's hurt me so bad by hearing a couple of MS Warriors and the kids are like, uh, you're
We're
not the
done. We're
same.
out.
Yeah, it's horrible. Um, Miss Tommy said I was on Texfadera and it flared up the virus. So now I've been on nothing for about 2 years on steroids at the moment. Miss Tommy, when you say 2 years, outside of were you like on and off steroids, and are you just on steroids now because you're having a flare up? And the story about Miss Tommy is weird because me and Miss Tommy got kind of like a similar situation going on. Um, she has a sister, if I'm not mistaken, that has MS. My sister was diagnosed with MS. Um, the
Hmm.
person that I was dating before I got diagnosed with MS, me being introduced to MS, which is so freaking weird and funny now that I look back, that I think that God just I happened to fall in place because that was something that was forthcoming for me that I helped her take care of her mom, and then I got diagnosed, and now I have my daughter. I don't want to put this on my daughter, but my daughter has been telling me about pains and stuff that she's been having,
Mm,
and it
yeah.
just sounds so familiar. And I keep constantly telling her, you have to find a great space, because if you don't, you're going to be where I'm sitting at. I've already had a scare with my son because he had a trauma playing soft in baseball, where the baseball hit him in the eye, and
Mm.
it caused a lesion on his head. But
Oh
he's been
yeah.
okay now. So Miss Marie said, I stopped dating over 5 years ago. Self love, spiritual journey, healing, forgiveness, breaking the cycle of physical and mental abuse. God saved me. Never thought I would have a relationship with Him. And Miss Marie, I think that is awesome because I have not stopped going on my spiritual journey, and it's so cool that I have someone that's going on a spiritual journey with me as well. It's the best thing ever. Jalissa says test for their messed with her gut health.
Yeah, I've heard that from quite a few people. Tech Federa just m- my one MS friend, she had stomach problems till
Wow,
she was put in the hospital. Um, and she was there for about a week.
dang,
Yeah.
that's not good.
No.
Again, it's like dang if you do and dang if you don't, and the only thing they can tell you is it outweighs just not being on anything at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people. For instance, there's a I don't know if anyone um knows an MS warrior named Bobby. Bobby has been off of medication for years. She lost a lot of weight on purpose. She lost a lot of weight. And she's like one of the warriors that is living life like she's
I'm
never
good for
stopped.
her. Good. Yeah.
And
Wow.
again, environmental for one thing. Obviously, they can go to wherever with this is not hereditary because genetic for me is hereditary. If it can be genetic, it's hereditary. They almost the same darn thing. Um, you really can't stay away from stress per se, but you can control how you respond to stress.
Yes.
So, so rounding the show off, and I want to ask Miss Michelle one more thing, but before I do that, your stress level is very important. You can't control nobody else and how they respond to how you react, how you allow something to bother you. And so you have to, our mental state, I think, is way more important than what treatment we're on.
Yes.
Because we can be
Yeah.
on treatment all day long, but if you're constantly beating yourself, it's so many of us right now, like at this very moment, that's stuck in a corner because, again, I'm not that person that I used to be where I thought I was great. You can be great now, regardless if you're having a cane that you're using or if you're in a motorized wheelchair. You can still be great. Your greatness is not off of what your body can do, it's here, you
Yes.
know? And so I I plead with people, stop telling yourself your past you prior to MS was your best you. And unless you get back there, there's nothing else that you can do. That's not true. So I segue to that question of you looking at yourself now prior to MS, your love for yourself. Do you think the love for yourself is more and deeper now than it was before being diagnosed?
Yes. Um, wasn't always,
I
but
can do that.
I say at this point in my life, I'm almost, I'm also about to turn 50. So,
Well, you look
um,
good.
thank you. So because of that, I've been doing a lot of soul searching as well. But
Okay.
I do have to say this is one of the most um, calmest times of my life right now. Calm meaning, my brain's not going "Blah," and I take 11 prescriptions a day to help with symptoms.
Okay.
I think I told you, I'm big on trying to schedule things to keep myself
Yeah.
on track. Easy on myself when I can't do this. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, life is about, whether you have MS or not, it's all about coming full circle with the different cycles in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you have that's a big new cycle that you got to go through.
Yeah.
Um, and eventually, at one point, you have to kind of say, "All right, well, I'm going to coexist. I'm not going to fight you anymore. I'm going to coexist."
Yeah.
And I think that's the beginning of when things start getting better. And also, I do have to admit, I am on mood stabilizers, so that so that definitely helps. Um, yeah. So
Well, and again, I don't knock I don't knock medicine. What I knock is you cannot tell me. I refuse to believe, and I'm definitely ending off this because I tend to say things that Facebook puts me in jail. So I try not to say too much of the crazy stuff. But you cannot tell me that out of all these smart minds that we have, that you can't come out with one drug, at least one drug that doesn't have a side effect, and it takes care of what it says that it's going to take care of without damaging anything else. You cannot
right.
tell me that is not possible. I
Right,
refuse to.
and those side effects they're pretty big. When it comes to your heart, when it comes to strokes, when it comes to they're big. Cancer, yeah, they're big.
And
They're
the fact
big.
that they read off that part real fast.
Hmm.
And yeah, so um guys, Michelle did say that she would sit down and put up get up some information so that we can talk about the medication that she's
Yeah.
taking and thinking about getting back on. Um, Definitely, um, anybody else again that comes across this, regardless if you're on Facebook or YouTube, if you're wanting to enlighten us with your story on your diagnosis, or just wanting to be a part of the show, definitely reach out. You can comment, and I'm fairly good with replying back to the comments and emails. And me and the wifey decided to do the Visa card giveaway thing yearly. The steps situation is from October 1st to March 1st. Because everybody knows that March all the way until, I want to say they still do it out to June. The MS walks, I think they're starting to
Yeah,
pick back up. People are starting to have them
yeah,
now. I just think they're still kind of small. They're not as big as they used to be. But but yeah, every time we reach that 200 mark, we go out and we purchase 2 Visa cards. So anybody that would love to put their name in the basket, you will email us at I can beat MS. I'm sorry, wrong thing. I'm gonna put it in because I'm saying the wrong thing. Info at icanbeatms.com. Give us a brief description on how MS has affected your life, whether it's good or bad. And that puts your name in a hat. And so as soon as we get 2 cards, I did it for the first time live Monday before last, but that's how I'm gonna start doing it. And hopefully I can get some more names in the hat, so I won't have to do blank pieces of paper and go through blank pieces of paper before I get a name, because I felt real crazy. But if I have to do that just to make it fun, I don't mind throwing myself up under the bus. So um, to next Monday, again, Miss Taylor, I totally appreciate it, and I can't wait to
thank
have you
you.
on. So, is there anything you would like to leave us with before we say goodbye?
No, just thank you for chit chatting with me. My son is now in the car and I have to get down the road, so
All right. All
I
right.
would love to do this again and we'll chat again. And thank you again. And I think what you're doing is great. It's absolutely great. And you and your wife are a beautiful couple. Love you both.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I would definitely let her know that. And you have a nice day and the rest of your evening.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, guys. So appreciate it again. Um, we will not be here next Monday. So we do a show every other Monday, unless my body wants to act crazy. And I might pop in and say, "Hey, I gotta do it this Monday because next Monday is not gonna be great for me." I definitely try my best to let you guys know ahead of time. So, toodaloo.